Hi, John.
Hey Nick, how's it going?
I'm good. It's been a while since we've done one of these, right?
Yeah, probably a lot longer than we realize.
Yeah. I don't even remember the last thing we talked about.
I'm sure it was something NeoVim related.
Probably. Or Mac productivity software.
Yeah, I don't. It's
Uh,
it's been at least over a year, so I don't remember. I don't
yeah.
remember much beyond like a week or two ago, Nick.
So, over a year ago, life was different. Life was very different for me. I don't think I've done this since leaving Meta, and Cloud Code didn't exist. So, we
Yeah.
weren't really using things the way we are now. And that's kind of what we want to talk about is this.
How
I named
how things are changing like every week.
every week. I named this anxiety, AI, like AI anxiety.
Seems appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. How you feeling? How has the last year and a half been?
Uh, Year and a half. That might be too long, Nick. Yeah, it's been a very um odd transition for me, honestly, because I was transitioning out of a role. I've been at my current employer for what, probably going on 3 years now, but I was transitioning from a mostly executive leadership management role and transitioning back into a management but hands-on keyboard role.
Mm-hmm.
So I had just a general odd or anxiety filled transition in that manner, given it was something I chose to do and wanted to do because I wanted to get back into the middle of things and feel like I was working on things that made a difference. And and then you have this AI component start building up to where it really changed how I started thinking about things. You know, at first, I was probably slightly hesitant to use it in my day to day, and honestly, back then it probably wasn't as useful in the day to day beyond maybe replacing your general search capabilities.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like asking simple questions.
Right, but it was a great tool to help me maybe dig into areas where I hadn't stayed up to date on coding, etc. Right?
Yep.
Go down a path, ask it questions, help me, take the knowledge that I had and apply it to new ways of doing things. Right? You know, when you and I met, I was super into Dojo, loved front end JavaScript frameworks, and yet I hadn't done much of anything with React. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So an AI
React didn't
tool.
exist.
What's that?
React didn't
Well,
exist.
yeah, React didn't exist back then, but it wasn't like I was still building front ends as I was, you know, in my executive, CTO role. I was certainly aware of React and the benefits and the pros and cons that came along with it, but I wasn't in the weeds writing React code.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but interacting with AI in a chat manner to essentially help me either one understand some code or two just go down a training path on me asking questions. Oh, why does it do it this way, etc. It made things easier, honestly. I think, right? I had a base level knowledge. I understand the underlying components and technologies of the web, so it wasn't like it was completely foreign to me, but
Mm-hmm.
it helped me get up to speed a lot faster. um, then I would say probably over the last 2 to 3 months is where I have significantly changed how I do things and I approach things a lot differently in the sense of I have less anxiety about starting something because I just go into, Claude code and essentially be like, have it, hey, I need to do X, Y, and Z, and it gets started. And you can just hop into something super quick, get a project up and running. And having a background in and how things work from a technical perspective, it's so much fun to sit with Claude and go, okay, hey, I want you to go take care of all this stuff that would have taken me hours, if not days, to do, and just do it quickly and let me go review it or dig into it and just kind of learn from it, um, correct it. It's almost like still being a manager, just maybe a little bit more anally retentive than I would have been with a normal person. Um,
You probably cuss at it less.
oh, probably, yeah. Uh, Although that oddly enough, today I was having a conversation with somebody and that kind of came up where you can be a little bit more direct and rude with Claude than you can be with some employees. So
Yeah.
yeah, you can tell it when it's being an idiot and stop doing that pretty
Oh
much
yeah.
directly.
Definitely guilty of that.
Yeah.
It starts getting snappy back at you though.
I don't think I've had, maybe it, I don't, you do a lot more in setting up your, I would say, the underlying personality of Claude because you give it a lot more direction and stuff. I haven't gone down that path. So maybe, do you ask it to be? Do you give it personality, or how do you manage that piece of it?
I don't at all, except um, to say that it should be as brief as possible in its responses. Don't give me these long drawn
Yeah.
out paragraphs. Just give me what I need to know.
Yeah, I've found Claude Code to be a lot less chatty. Obviously, Claude Desktop, it tells me how wonderful I am and what amazing ideas I have and all that nonsense. But Claude Code has been a lot more. It's been easier to just get in there and give it really clear direction and get the goal and the response that you think you should.
For sure.
But how's it been for you? Your life has. It seems like yours has been a whirlwind over the last several months.
Yeah. And quick feedback. The last time we recorded was 2 years ago.
Okay, see, my concept of time is totally broken.
Yeah. So AI definitely wasn't where it was at
No,
back then. It
nowhere
was
near.
just ChatGPT, I think, and that's it.
Yeah,
And it was like ChatGPT 3 or 3.5 or something, like real crappy.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, I have completely changed things since then. I've had 2 new jobs, I suppose. Well, I must have just started at Meta at that point.
yeah.
Um,
I think you had probably just started.
Yeah. But I left and I'm at WorkOS now and focused on developer experience, and it's all open source all the time, pretty much. And it's great. But over the last year, like Claude, I remember the day that Claude Code came out. And I was kind of like in the market for it, I suppose, because I had just gone to React Summit in New York and interviewed a bunch of like higher named people in the community and asked them all like what AI means to them. And all of them were like cursor, cursor, cursor.
Yeah,
And I was like, I can't do a VS Code clone. I can't get out of the terminal. I was
right.
like stuck in my ways. And fortunately, Claude met me where I'm at in the terminal, and I was able to pick that up. But honestly, when it first came out, I remember I charged up an API key and plugged it in and started, and I was like, I need some unit tests for whatever I'm doing.
Yeah,
And it spun and it spent like $4 on this thing, and it was the crappiest thing ever. I'm like, well, I just wasted a bunch of money doing nothing.
yeah.
$4 whole dollars.
$4
And then I just stopped. And I didn't use it again for a while, but I had kind of started like creeping in more of Claude Desktop. I started like actually hitting limits on how much I could post there before they'd cut me off. And then they like literally the week later, I was like, curse them. If they would let me pay double, then I would get double the usage.
Right.
And then they're like, no, you can pay 5 times more for 5 times the usage with the max plan. And I was like, yep, let's do it. And so I jumped right in for that. That was the max $100 plan.
Right.
And yeah, but it pretty much consisted of me just using Claude Desktop and talking to it, or Claude Web, like the chat interface. And I would use tools like Git ingest to pull in like the repo that I'm working in, because that would give you like, you put in the URL for whatever, the Next.js SDK or whatever, and then that gives you a full digest of the repo on your clipboard that you can paste in. So then
Right.
I would just paste that in and I'd start asking it questions. And it was much less likely to hallucinate, but it definitely still did.
Yeah.
And I would just like get answers like that. I would be like, I want to do something like this. What would I do if I wanted to add this? And it would spit out like a little bit of a function. And I would just manually type that into my editor. Yeah, a year
Right.
ago, I was using an editor. It's crazy. And that's like, that was fine up until June, probably. And June, I started digging in. I was like playing with like Mastra and like these other AI tools, and I was seeing how like powerful they were getting. I was like, I should look at Claude Code again because it would save me that copying and pasting because it would
Right.
just have everything. And so started playing with it. I was like, oh, okay, this is actually pretty good. And this was like 3.5, like Opus 3.5, Sonnet 3.5. And then 4 came out, and now 4.5 and 4.6. And it's just like definitely around the 4.5 area. It just started doing everything. Like I could really just like not like trust it more, but also increase my verification of what it's doing.
Right.
And now like I'm in this like symbiosis with it where like I can tell just by how we're planning whether it's going to go successful or not.
Yeah.
And I just can rely on it much more. And then other models too have started like really picking up. Like Codex is actually pretty good. And I've used Gemini here and there. I use like Gemini mostly for image generation with Nano Banana.
Yeah.
But yeah, now
Yeah.
I don't think that I have done a like I've written a line of code myself since 20 or I mean in like 6 months probably.
Yeah. I didn't, I would say I didn't really mess with Claude Code directly much until I would say 6 months ago or so. Um, that was probably right around when 4.5 came out. Some of that was obviously I had side projects that I wanted to spin up. Um, and also you and I spent some time together live to get that project spun up, and you kind of showed me just how powerful it could be, right? Because I was definitely still in the mode of, hey, I want you to, I'm going to ask you questions about this. I may give you some context, a little bit of code to, very low level, like here's a function, tell me exactly what it's doing, or I need you to write a function does this, and then give it to me, and I'll go paste it in. Some of that also stemmed from like we didn't have, while our company was certainly interested in getting things, people using AI, there wasn't clear or clean ways of really doing it in a manner. If you were working either one with data that you were uncomfortable having it go to an AI provider, etc. Right? I was working on a project where I was writing Python, not a language I'm super familiar with, um, wasn't super comfortable with it. Man, if I had Claude Code, which I could have used Claude Code with Opus 4.5 at that time, I just wasn't comfortable with using it for that project because it was essentially dealing with company data that had PII in it, etc. And now that we have essentially Amazon, AWS Bedrock set up to where we can use those tools, that would have totally changed how I approached that project, because I completely agree with you in the sense of I'm not going to write a ton of code anymore. I'm going to plan what should be written and iterate on that and then go from there, because I mean it's so much faster at this point.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you
Yeah.
were kind of, I mean, you almost had like a mandate at WorkOS, right? To kind of, it was not a mandate in the sense of, hey, you need to go do this, but a mandate of, we're not gonna, we want you to go down this path rather than hiring more developers and see where it goes, right?
Right. Well, not necessarily even that. Like we're hiring like crazy. It's more like what we believe that this is the future. How do we make sure that we're at the forefront of it? And like just personally for my own growth, like
Yeah.
I don't miss writing code day to day anymore because I'm really starting to drink that Kool-Aid in the idea that it's not something that people are going to need to do in the future just based on how good it is now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So this is, and obviously, I think we'll have future conversations where we probably dive a bit more deeply into some of these things. But that piece, that I think that's something that I would like to dig into later in a different conversation. Is okay. There won't be new people coming on to write code, but how do you get new people to use this magic tool and understand that if the magic that it outputs is good or not and is
Yes.
capable of doing what it is you need to do, right? And there's a lot of nuance and context that needs to be added there, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're building an app that only has 200 users, then you probably don't really need to worry about what gets output, right? So that's always got to be taken into consideration. But yeah, I think understanding how this affects future generations, uh, you know, and by future generations, I mean the next up and coming, you know, what does a junior dev do now, and how do you uh, uh, get them to a point where they are going to be comfortable with understanding the output of what an AI tool is doing, and if it's capable of meeting a company's needs, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. I just don't know what, I don't know. I don't have answers to that. Like how we keep the pipeline good and open.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this goes, um, and how it evolves. And do you have any ideas on how you predict it's going to change your job in the next, I don't know, let's say year?
Oh, I mean, so I think that changing my job in the next year, I, I think we're already kind of seeing um, expectations, right? I am a I would say I'm a senior level manager, if you want to call it that, at a company, but that has a different connotation than it did 2 years ago, right? And quite frankly, there's several things that happened alongside AI, right? You had a very large shift in the engineering industry that was moving away from management heavy teams to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Before AI was even on the scene in the way it is now, you had teams. You had the pendulum swing from we want people driven, people oriented engineering managers with maybe less technical skills at a lot of companies, and but we're good at providing you know personalized team management and people skills, and that pendulum swang back the other way to where it was like we don't want any of that anymore, right? I want technical leads who then also have to take on you know the people management skills of dealing with people, and that's what we want.
Yeah.
I think AI actually came in and helped that be successful, honestly, or at least will help it be successful because you have you have managers, or people who have been in management roles who are technically capable of driving a project, and now they have a tool set that allows them to do both in a more easily, right? Because I can get hands on keyboard and produce a ton of stuff now with AI,
Mm-hmm.
and also spend time with the rest of the team mentoring, doing whatever. You still have a people aspect to this. You still have to deal with personalities. You still have to manage the day to day of just keeping a company sane. But this has changed my ability to also be in the weeds technically and help drive the products forward, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
that's the most important piece of our roles, right? It was very easy for engineers in the past to get lost in the technical pieces of what a company was doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They could be completely disconnected from what the product was that it was delivering. They're just there to solve this technical problem, right? And you could have, and that's just not going to be realistic anymore, right? Yes, you want somebody there who technically understands the problem and can help drive AI to make sure it's solving that problem appropriately, but they have to be product oriented. They have to be uh, essentially, you know, delivering their skills to as a tool set to the company, right? That was one thing that I always in my previous role that if I whenever I had to meet with new employees, junior devs, and talk about, you know, what is the goal for them in their careers, right? The one thing I would always highlight is that writing code is just it's almost a commodity, right? There are people who are physicists, etc., who are trying to solve a deep problem, and code is just the tool that allows them to iterate on that problem and help solve it, right?
Hmm.
You can't be a computer scientist joining a team as a software engineer and go, I don't understand what the business is. I'm just here because I know how to write code or I understand technology. Right? That's a commodity, and it has become clear that it's a commodity. You have to understand how to apply that tool to a business problem, and AI just makes that even easier and more relevant, right? I understand how to technically make something happen. I can work with this tool that can do it almost, you know, at light speed now. A problem that would have taken me a day or, you know, hours to a day, if not longer to do, I can do in 30 minutes now, right? It's insane. So it's just even more important that people who are, you know, going through technical going to school to be, you know, be a software engineer in a technical role understand that it's even more important that you are understanding how to bring your skill sets to a business problem and be product driven, be curious, understand how to push the business forward. So I think that is how, you know, it's allowed me to continue to be relevant in the sense of keeping the skills that I have and just keep pushing them and being able to produce faster,
Hmm.
which is exciting, honestly.
Yeah, I mostly agree. I think it's going to be wildly different than it is today, but I don't think it's going to be bad. Because, like I said, right now I don't really write code myself
Yeah,
anymore, and I'm probably having more fun and shipping more than I've ever had
right.
in this like profession. And so yeah, like let's see how far we can take that till it takes my job, I guess. And speaking of, I wanted to try something. I'm surprising. I'm springing this on you, John,
Okay.
but
You know, I
oh,
do real well with surprises, Nick.
for sure. um, I'm going to rapid fire spit off some things that I've heard about the future. We'll say by the next year, by 2027.
Okay.
Um, and I just want you can just say you agree or disagree, or we can
Sure.
talk about them more. But I've got a list of like 10 things that I want to ask
Okay. Well, this will be fun.
you. First off, AI will kill us all. That's the
No,
Project 2027
no, I disagree.
prediction. Do you
I
know what I'm talking
disagree.
about?
No.
Oh, okay. There's a paper with a bunch of AI doomers on it that say by 2027, AI will be like we're just getting into this recursive self improvement now, where
Yeah.
like AI can be used to train the next model and so on,
Hmm.
and that might just like lead to this like explosion, this where it just goes off.
So to clarify, we're talking about like Terminator style AI is going to kill us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, like by 2027, according to this paper, which is probably pushed out now, right? By
Yeah. Yeah.
2028, maybe. But we'll be in such a big arms race. Our AI specifically will be in such a big arms race with the China AI that it's like, I will attack it first before it attacks me, kind of thing.
I'm not gonna be cynical, and I'm gonna say no. I do not agree with I do not agree with
Okay.
that premise.
All right. AI will take my job by
Uh,
2027.
no.
Okay. Code won't matter.
Co- sure. I'll go. I'll agree with the broad statement of code won't matter. Coding won't matter. Sure, I'll go with that. Yes.
Okay. That's a good one. I've always wondered, like hypothesized that code might like we might just talk to AIs about code, like what we want to do, problems, not code.
Yeah.
And we kind of do that now. But then
Yeah, I we could I mean, that would be a topic that I think we should eventually come back to.
Sure.
Is yeah, but I would go into more depth. But yeah, I
Yeah.
do not. By 2027, there will absolutely coding will you will no longer care what the code looks like.
Right. So will code exist? Meaning
Oh, a little
like,
higher level. Yeah, I
yeah.
think. Yeah, I don't think
Or should it
we'll.
just all be WebAssembly?
Yeah,
Is
no,
what I'm getting.
I don't think we'll be at that point by then. But
Okay.
who knows?
Yeah. All right. Software engineering as a profession won't exist.
I disagree with that.
You disagree with that?
I disagree with that.
That
If you
comes
had
from,
maybe used a different title, then I might have agreed. But I disagree that software engineering as a profession will be gone.
well, yeah. Where this is going is like, I think this was Boris Cherny, the creator of Claude Code, on another podcast, Lenny's podcast, saying that we won't have software engineers, we'll have builders. We may not have like.
Okay, that's arguing over the definition of what a software engineer is, right?
I don't know. Will builders be paid more or less, or?
I mean, depends on what you're doing, but like that's asking, should this carpenter be paid more or less than the other one, right?
Yeah.
If a carpenter isn't very good with their tools and isn't building nice things, then maybe they should be paid less, right? So that, yeah, I software engineering to me is a larger than just code monkeys, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I can get behind that. Okay, being product driven will be most important. I think you said this already.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
I say product driven, meaning your goals are clearly aligned with what the business is trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, because that's all that matters.
Right. Product. Yes. You could be product driven and build shit that doesn't matter. All right. But yeah. Yes.
Good. All right. Everyone will be a manager.
Yes.
I agree.
You're gonna. I mean, I kind of said it earlier. There's not a lot of difference between. There's obviously clearly a lot of difference, but I'm being slightly hyperbolic saying there's not a lot of difference in the job I do now versus talking to an AI to get it to do something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just you can be a little less nuanced and a little more direct.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Everyone will write software.
Everyone will certainly try to write software.
Yeah.
Everyone will be writing software. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think we'll see outside of my bubble if things like Raycast are as popular as I make it out to be, but like their new Glaze thing is super interesting. It's like one-shotting Mac apps. You've got V0 for web apps. You've got.
I know I sent that to you. I did not look at what it was used under the covers. Is it like native Mac or is it like Tari or something like that?
Good question. They support Windows now, so I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm guessing it's Tari or something.
Yeah.
Tari is I would assume instead of Electron, but yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think that everybody has an app in their head, that they're like, oh, if I knew how to code, I would build XYZ. They absolutely could go build XYZ right now.
Yeah.
Could they get Apple to approve it in their freaking developer review? No clue. But
all right, so that was everyone will write software, and this is a slight variation of that kind of like semantically. There will be an explosion of software.
Oh yeah, I think this is something I had never done in the past because I have kids and my weekends are often filled with things around that. But I had a problem I wanted solved that needed an iOS app, so I built one over the weekend. And I just mentioned I'm still waiting for Apple to just say yes, so I can put it in test flights so I can put it on my wife's phone, and that's taken way longer than I think it should. And they're going to get overrun and inundated with people submitting. here's my vibe coded app. I need you to
Hmm.
approve it. It's gonna be it's gonna be interesting.
I look forward to this new era of fart apps for my phone.
Everybody needs another one.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you'll have like it's just going to be pushed way down, right? Software will become so commoditized that the mom and pop shop who didn't have a custom bespoke iPhone app before can
Yep.
have one now, and they can just get it there pretty much themselves,
Yep.
or pay us. And that kind of leads into the next one, and that's the software engineering or building or whatever we call this profession. Will, because the tasks are so easy to come up, like to start,
Yep.
and so relatively low effort, that the profession itself will move to a gig economy type thing like Uber.
I could see, I could see that. I don't know. So is this is within this is not remind me, I already forgot the context of the questions. Is it by 2027 or is it longer?
That's what I framed it as, but if you want to forecast
I
out.
don't think I so no. So I think you will see an explosion of some of that stuff into 2027. It will not become the main way that things happen in 2027. Um, you know, I think we already see this with something that you and I are doing on the side, right? It's a very simple application. I say it's a simple application. It's not actually a simple application, and I would not have even tried this. I would not have. I would have not have been interested in building this because it would have been super tedious and just the level of kind of detail. You're replacing a archaic way of managing something with a little bit newer, but they still want the archaic way of managing it to exist. So it was just tedious, right? And
Yep.
that doing that with AI is super easy. But I don't think the people who understand the archaic rules of it could have fed AI and gotten the output right. Like
Mm-hmm.
we still needed the software engineering background, especially still with the deployment piece. Although I know that's going to get solved. I know there will be. I mean, every company is probably already trying to figure out how do I solve the problem of allowing all the vibe coders who weren't coders. How do I deploy their apps in a manner that I don't have to deal with it? My team doesn't have to deal with it, and they can go do whatever they want, and they're not going to leak company data, right?
Mm-hmm.
That problem's got to be solved. So I just don't know if it'll be done by 2027.
Yeah.
Maybe by the end of 2027.
A fun thing you can ask right now is, John, you should do this. Which one do you use the most? Which one do you chat with the most? Claude or ChatGPT?
Claude, this is one area where I need to expand. I have hardly ever have done anything with outside of Anthropic and Claude. One, because I always appreciated and liked their CEO's approach, um, but it just resonated with me, and it's always been very. I've always approached it from a very technical, like this is going to solve technical problems for me. I've never used the chat bot outside of that. Although I have started talking to Claude about home projects, taking pictures of cracked tile and asking what I should do and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's why I didn't really use Chat GPT very much. I think it's going to help ruin our society, quite frankly, because I see people that I hang out with in some of the hobbies I do talking to their friend that they call Al to figure out who they should be betting on. It's like in games that they don't even know the sport. It's just insane. It's gonna
Kevin asks, why so glum?
Well, Kevin, that's just how I am.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of growing pains and a lot of pain. But back to Claude. Go ask Claude right now. Based on everything you know about me, when will you take my job?
I should go ask Claude this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the funny thing: is I don't know why I've allowed it to just like slide by, but I have noticed that the more I interact with Claude, the more it's like, oh, and in your job at blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and I'm like, dude, what? I know that you probably know. So, what was the question again?
Uh,
Oh,
based on
based on
based on everything you know about me, why? When will you take my job? And maybe say,
When
give me an exact year or
will you
something.
take my job? Which model do you want me to use?
Opus.
Give me an exact year. All right, let me. I'm on Sonnet.
I know it's going to try and BS and sidestep around
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Okay, I'm gonna. Don't BS me. Be frank. Let's see what it says. Never, which they
Never.
probably had it. They probably updated this.
Probably. I asked
And
it and it responded with one word, just said 2031.
here's what it says. It is a ton. It's actually quite a lot.
Yeah.
And here's what's. Oh, this is very interesting. Okay, never. I am not BSing you. Here's why I'm confident. Your job isn't write code. Your job is the messy, ambiguous stuff that sits between domains. You're the person who understands how parametric insurance products actually work, how weather climate risk translate into a technical architecture, how to hire the right Python engineer for that specific context. Wow. No, I don't. How to get a startup from inception to pre-IPO, how to navigate SOC 2 compliance while still shipping product, and how to look a client in the eye at your consulting firm and tell them what they actually need versus what they ask for. I can write a SQL Alchemy upsert or scaffold a Phoenix app faster than you can. That's already true today, but I can't sit in a room with holy shit. It's naming two people that I work with, blank and blank, and read the dynamics of what I'll just say Arbol actually needs next quarter. I can't decide whether I take on a new consulting engagement based on gut instinct built over years. This is long, sorry. I can't own the outcome when a Fly.io deployment goes sideways at 2 a.m. and the client is watching. The people whose jobs are at risk are the ones doing one narrow thing that can be fully specified in a prompt.
Mine tried to give me some crap like this too, and I like
We'll post this in the notes. I'm not going to read it all, but the level of detail it goes into is fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy.
I'm gonna be
I gotta
honest.
watch my language.
Most of that, it sounds like those are things that you like.
Oh yeah,
It's saying because
absolutely.
you asked it already, so it's already weighing in on all of that.
Absolutely. The fact that it said I can write a SQL Alchemy upsert. What did I say earlier? I literally took, hey, I need this function. Tell me how to do this and this, right?
Yeah.
It was totally SQL Alchemy. I don't know shit about Python. I'm trying to do this project with SQL Alchemy. I need you to do this for me. Oh, this is
Amazing.
hilarious.
I had to like prompt it a couple of times, but it eventually told me 2031.
2031. Nick.
Yeah.
We got to work on that, buddy.
All right, I do have one more rapid fire question for you.
Okay.
TypeScript is the last programming language
TypeScript is the last programming language.
that matters, I guess I should say.
I mean,
because it's the last one you're going to learn because like you just won't need any other language ever again.
That's insanity. No.
No?
No. We just built a project and we didn't use TypeScript.
Oh, that's true. Begrudgingly. But I didn't learn it. That's
I know. You're not there to learn. Okay. So
I'm here to lead.
we should
not
talk
to read.
about why, like, the problem is, you know, the problem I've always had with TypeScript and some of the Node, the Node land of doing things is like you don't go, hey, I want to build this thing out with TypeScript and you get all the answers, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem, and that was the huge problem I always had with React as well, right? It was like, I'm going to use React, okay, great, but there's like, you got to pick all the pieces and put them together. And if I were 20 something years younger, I probably would have been like, I know, that's the fun part. I get to go put all these things together and make all these decisions and X, Y, and Z, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I chose Elixir Phoenix is because like you say you're going to do that and you know exactly all the pieces you're going to use and how they fit together and how it deploys and how you manage scaling and all these pieces, etc. So yeah, I'm not, I TypeScript, I like TypeScript, but it's always never been my favorite. So I don't want to say yes, that's going to be the last language, Nick. It's very sad.
It is, but is it all that bad? Really? Like,
No, it's not. I would rather write it than JavaScript, even though, I flailed around with it because it would half the time get in my way when we first started working together on projects, once we were doing TypeScript.
yeah,
But yeah, like I don't care what language this is in anymore, Nick, honestly, because I'm not gonna,
exactly.
this is the interest, like,
So that was the last language.
uh, yeah, I guess. Sure. I mean, it, I'm interested to understand how long the transition is between how how many do you think I know the answer. When do you think, what year do you think there will no longer be code bases that people care about looking at, in the sense of the AI is only AI is doing the coding. I'm not, there's no longer a human that's like, oh, I don't like that pattern and yada yada yada.
Oh, that, John, the project we're doing together is that for me.
Well, no, it's that for me too. I don't. Do you think I actually? I will be. So I at the beginning I did go in and I'm like, I want to see if you are following idioms that I know should be followed and make sense, right?
Yeah.
And once I felt like it did, I stopped. I don't look at the code anymore. There are times where I'll ask it questions. Um, like we didn't talk about this, but so I got asked, you know, we in the product that we're building out on the side, we had a client that's like, hey, we want to be in your beta. Great. But they're like, hey, we want this component to show everything, because right now it's limited by divisions, and they're like, we want to show all of them at the same time, right? And
Mm-hmm.
great, very easy for me to go into AI and say, hey, I need you to update this to show all divisions, right? But the thing that I was concerned with, and this is where I think, um, what I'm talking about when I talk about how do we build the current juniors into the seniors, right? Because when I went to Claude and said, hey, I want to build this, what I said was, hey, Claude, I want to build this. I want you to tell me how you would do it, what you would change. Oh, and by the way, I want you to take into account the memory footprint that this will now have for our live views, because I know that essentially the assigns of what is being put into the context for live view is going to could grow quite a lot with at showing all the divisions at once, right? Because a division has shifts, and a shift has these employees, whatever you want to call them, all aligned with them, and that can grow. And each one of those is a memory footprint in that live view, in the way it's currently implemented. And I was able to say, okay, and in that case, it was able to say, okay, I can make this change, and if you're going to be working with, less than 50 employees, then it'll be fine. Otherwise, we'll have to start thinking about things. So to me, that's an interesting way, or that's how AI is not going to solve all the problems. You still have to come to the table with some kind of knowledge to say, yeah, I want you to build this for me, but here's some things I'm worried about. So those will be the types of questions that I ask for this project. I will not probably ever go and be like, oh, I need to go review the code and actually get into it again, because at this point, why should I get in there and get in the way? It's like, the AI is going to be the one that manages the code. It's going to be the one that writes it. I'll help, drive it from a scalability point of view, but that's probably all it's going to be. So
Mm-hmm.
you and I are in the same boat, buddy. It's just I happen to have done Elixir Phoenix before.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I don't know. I'm waffling between you agree with it and you disagree with it. I think it's both.
Yeah, I think.
TypeScript has a stand-in for in whatever language.
What's that?
TypeScript is a stand-in for whatever was your last language, but it's your last one.
Oh yeah. Oh okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was taking it. I'm sorry. I
No,
was
no, no, this
taking
is a
it.
good rant.
I was taking it too literal. Will no one ever create another language? Is not my. Yeah, yeah. So no, yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be. I don't know. I still go back and forth on. It's easy to think about all the things that won't happen given the context that everything I've learned and my limitations and what I can be curious about, right? It's
Hmm.
easy to think, oh, we won't have X, Y, and Z anymore because nobody's gonna want to do that because AI will just do it. But it's that's also not taking into account that somebody may go build something that's insane because they have access to AI and it enables them to go do it. So I have definitely become more positive over the last probably 3 months on AI than I was 3 months ago. 3 months ago, I would have been slightly more negative about using it and slightly more negative about its effect on my career. In the sense of, at the time probably had anxiety in the sense of this is a tool that if I don't figure out how it works and how to make use of it, I will be I will be I will be a dinosaur, right?
Hmm.
And couple that with getting older, it was I was having a ton of anxiety. So yeah, I think if you're a software engineer, you definitely need to be looking at this tool and understanding how it can serve you.
Yeah, I agree. I attended a talk today, um, like on Zoom, with someone from OpenAI, and they wrote this pretty good article about context and harness engineering, not context engineering. And honestly, that seems so hot right now. Like, very cool idea. And they were kind of making the case that this is the last frontier. You're not going to work on the system. You're not going to work on your system. You're going to work on the system that builds the system.
Yep.
And that, yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. Plus, it's fun right now. Is it fun though, working in a system that's already built? Like it's
I
fun to tinker on the system, but if you have to come in and use somebody's bespoke weird system, I guess we do that now with all of our CIs and all of that. But
So I mean I will say that this aligns with my, I don't know what you want to call it, if it's my personality, but where I think I've always excelled in my career. I'm the first. I'll be the first to tell you I have never been the person that you hire. Uh, I want to say in a greenfield role, but that's not. Yeah, I'll say that I'm not the person where you have a completely blank canvas in most cases, and you go, I need you to come in and I need you to build that for me, right?
mhm.
Um, I've always been better at, hey, and it can be super early. We had this idea, we have this idea, we've already started building stuff, but we think you can enhance it or etc. Right? I've always come into those situations and felt way more comfortable because it's I just enjoy it more, and I think maybe it's a mental state. Maybe it's ADHD. I don't know where it's that a quick hit of dopamine, right? I can go in and I can see all the little things that I can do and quickly iterate on it and make it better, and and slowly build it up to what it should be.
Mhm.
That's why I think also over the last 2 to 3 months that my feelings about AI have changed because I had a ton of anxiety with that project we were just discussing, getting it started, right? And that
Mhm.
time we spent together, we spent a couple of days where you were just like, hey, let's feed it these things and let's just figure out how we get it started. But once the core is there, I love the shit out of just going in there and just like iterating on it now, right? And especially now with Claude, because I can think of something and I don't it gets rid of a lot of the things that I found tedious, which quite frankly sometimes writing the code was tedious. My camera is freaking out, but anyways, um, and yeah, it's just so much funner to go in and iterate on it. And now that the core is there, and yeah, there may be some large structural changes that we have to work through over the next weeks as we go through a beta. But it's still like it's there, and I can see it, and I can iterate on it, etc. Um, that's why I think we should have discussion eventually have a discussion about like third party tools that sit outside of Claude, etc. Right? I'm a huge fan of Tidewave. I think it brings a tool to I don't think I'd ever start working a like a greenfield like there's nothing there project with Tidewave, but man, it's amazing now that we have this Elixir Phoenix app sitting there to open up Tidewave. Man, it's so much easier to iterate on, especially things that are UI driven, because you can just
Mm.
give it all this context and it has all these tools that are built into it, um, to work more efficiently with the underlying LLM models.
I love that.
Did you do those 10 questions? Did you do that game before, or
No,
because it sounds like you asked it if it when it was going to replace you, that was something you had done before.
I was just trying to think, like brainstorm all of the things that I've heard, and I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a lot more that I forgot, but those are things that I could come up with right off the bat. Um, that I've heard, predictions for the future, and I just wanted to gauge kind of where you're at with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Maybe 6 months from now, we do the same exercise and
Yeah.
see see if anything's changed. I guess how do you generally feel about things right now? Because I know that you've gone back and forth on your level of anxiety about it. I think you
Mm.
went through a period where you're like, oh man, this is gonna make me obsolete, etc. Right? And I don't think you're there now. I think you understand that it's a tool that
I got till 2031.
I'm not sure if I would bet on Claude too much in that sense.
Well, now that they're a supply chain risk, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly just waffle back and forth. Like I'm having so much fun with it. Um, because I feel like there's a lot of like problems to solve, like a lot of new problems to solve.
Um,
And being like just diving in, like half of it is just getting out of your own way. You're like getting out of your own head about this and just
right.
diving in. I think that a lot of people struggle with that. And so that's one thing, but also like I don't know, maybe it will. Maybe once all of these questions are figured out, then it will just kind of it will take my job. And if there's a report out recently from Anthropic actually talking about like the impact on the job market across different things.
Yep.
And there's a really good graph in there. I'll see if I can find the actual post and post it in the chat. But there's a really fun graph where it's basically showing exactly what fields will be replaced, or like what fields will be impacted. Sorry.
Yeah,
Um,
I think I remember seeing this.
okay. Yeah, and it's like 90% of computer and math,
Oh
uh,
yeah, it's like
90% of
data.
business.
Anything where you're wrangling data or writing code, etc. Right?
Yeah.
It's and then the fields that weren't going to be anything that in the service industry where you're like going to somebody's house and fixing something, or etc. Then you don't need to work, right?
Yeah.
So there, yeah, there's there's a f- I you know we I think eventually we have a deeper conversation about this as well, but there's the technical will AI be able to do this question, and then and then there's the philosophical should AI do this question,
Yeah.
and then there's the other question of would people in power I, we should have a thought exercise eventually, but I'll ask the question now, and maybe we do a follow-up episode on it. But how, if the answer were AI will ruin a ton of careers and put millions of people out of jobs in 2027, do you think the people in power, both government and people in power of capitalistic companies, etc., do you think that is what they would want?
Yes.
Okay. So the reason I want you to think about this is, why do you think that's what they would want? In particular, I'm not going to, not trying to get political. I'm not going to, let's just set the government aside.
Sure.
Just set the government aside, because chaos, our government is chaos right now. Why would you, let's say you are the CEO of Amazon. You would want AI to make this happen, and millions of consumers no longer have jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you want that?
If I was the CEO of Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
because I would have no need for those people anymore, because I'm assuming we get to AGI or something, or like we're well on our way to that. I have no use for those people anymore, and I'll wait it out in my bunker until 2/3 of them are dead, and then I'll start my techno-feudal society after that.
Okay. I picked Amazon for a specific reason. So Amazon's goal is to sell people shit.
Mm-hmm.
If people don't have the money or the ability to buy their shit, what is the purpose of anything that they are doing?
Isn't Amazon actually like a tiny amount of their revenue compared to AWS?
Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong. Maybe Amazon was a bad example in the sense of, yes, AWS subsidizes their ability to essentially do everything else that they are doing. But I'm pretty sure it is still a large portion of, they have consumers in mind,
Mm-hmm.
right? So especially if we just limit it to the American society, we are such a consumer-based society that this does not, having AI come in and take over everything to where people no longer have jobs and are unable to consume, it breaks too many things all at once. And if you're right, if the end goal is absolutely Armageddon, which, hey,
wouldn't put it past them.
Listen to the news, then that's apparently what they're trying to accomplish. I just don't understand. Like, that's not capitalism. Capitalism is ensuring that there are consumers to continue to consume the things that you are trying to sell them. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think there's just a ton of people. There's so many, there's the complete opposite spectrum, right? There's the people who are like, AI is stupid and it will accomplish nothing, etc. And then there's people that are like, it's going to destroy society, right? I think we're certainly capable of destroying society ourselves without AI. I think it will help, but I'm probably more on the right end of that spectrum, just not in the AI is going to destroy everything, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I hope we're not stupid enough to just be like, gonna let it run until we're all dead.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know, there's two ways I could play with that, but like, you have, assuming that it gets there, you have no need for humans anymore. You have no need for money, because it'll just do everything and take care of you, right? And it'll take care of itself.
Yeah, but
and so you don't want to share that with poor people. You got to get rid of them.
I'm not. That's I'm obviously addressing this from the perspective of humans are still in control of AI.
Yeah.
I
also want to caveat that I'm pretending to be Jeff Bezos right now. That's not my viewpoint. We're not going to clip that part.
But Yeah, I could quite frankly, now is the if AI were if A if AI were conscious enough to think that through this, now is the time for it to act because
Mhm,
we certainly it could easily go in and start chaos, and there's not we do not have a structure in place right now to keep chaos from happening, in my opinion, but
for sure.
we'll see.
Yeah. I think that the much more palatable or like realistic answer is we're we're so preoccupied with whether we could, not whether we should, and it's a race, and everybody will make every justification possible
Yeah.
to make that okay. Like, oh, we have to beat China, we have to beat OpenAI to it, we have to beat whatever, and that's it. I did want to point out this chart though from that paper. I think it's from that paper. Uh, but yeah, we kind of talked about this. Like, it looks like the only safe place right here
Yeah.
that has no AI whatsoever is grounds maintenance. So while everybody over here is figuring out what the hell a Ralph Wiggum loop is, you should be a groundskeeper Willie.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm interested to well, I wonder, like, I'm trying to see. I feel like, yeah, I guess construction's pretty low. Yeah, I until they get the robots going.
Exactly. Then all of these just start. But until then, that's my retirement. I'll just be working the grounds at the Bezos compound.
Man, I suck doing manual labor. I'm just not good at it, so we'll see how that goes. Like, yeah. As much as I would love to be able to use tools and figure it out, I just always struggled with it.
Well, I think that was a good first stream. Should we start wrapping it up?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed this, let us know. And if you want to come chat about your AI anxiety, we're all going through it. Let's talk. All right. See you, John.